will be another topic for you. Okay, so previously we've talked about digestive system. So as you may know, what do you call this? There are parts of the digestive system which are categorized into two. We have alimentary, we have also accessory organs. Okay, and the process of digestion is very important in making your body healthy. Okay, because it needs to break down food into simplest, okay, simplest form where our body can readily absorb, okay, to use its energy as for the daily activities. Okay, so in connection with that particular what do you call this, in connection with that particular topic, so I'm going to introduce my topic by asking you first a question. So let me share first my presentation to you. Okay? So I'm going to ask a question from you. So everyone, especially when you were a kid, get or got wound. Okay? So nagasgasan kayo, you have abrasion, you have laceration, you have any injury related to your childhood kung malilikot yung mga kamay nyo. However, one thing that you don't observe, okay, so that your wounds eventually heal. Okay, so my question for you is that why do wounds heal? So that's my first question before we can proceed with the discussion. Okay? I want you to come up with your idea of how do or why do wounds heal. Okay? So why? So I'm going to follow up with that question, how? Why and how do wounds heal? Sige nga. Can you come up with that idea? So I wanted to know if what's gonna be your interpretation or what's gonna be your opinion about my question. Sige nga. Anyway, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yan. So, do you have any idea why do wounds heal? How do wounds heal? Supposed to be you were got injured from a particular low-level injury. Okay, so then something like this one is an abrasion. So why do wounds heal like this one? What do you think is the answer for this one? Anyway, you can answer, okay? So any answer can be appreciated. There's no incorrect answer for this question. Okay? So there is one chat from Micaela. So the wound starts to fill in with new tissue. Okay, so that's one way of why do wounds heal. Okay, so there is new tissue. Okay, so what else? I just want to know first your prior knowledge about this one. Class. Okay, so si Micaela lang ba ang student ko dito? Anyone who can also participate? Okay, according to Charmaine, the body repairs broken blood vessels. Okay, so broken blood vessels is okay. So anyway, that's correct, but later on I'm going to add information to your answers. Okay, so okay, I think that's enough. Those two answered. Okay, so also because we have our own antibiotic in our body. Okay, so you've mentioned related to our immune system. Okay, so we counter the effect of infection out of these wounds. Okay po? So anyway, I like your answers. So thank you very much for your participation even though it's in the chat. Okay, so I would like to address first my response to your answer, Micaela. So according to Micaela, the wound starts to fill in with new tissue. Okay? So whenever you get injured, okay, so your cells, remember class that our cells, our body is composed of cells. Okay? Some of the cells die. Okay po? Some of the cells die because of the injury. Okay po? And this could be a result of even minor injuries like puncture or even abrasion like this one. Okay? Whenever a cell dies, you can notice that it's not normal anymore. Okay po? Nangingitim. Okay? And namumula. Okay? So, and these cells, as I said, will eventually die and will not be reproductive. When you speak of will not be reproductive, it has to come out of your skin na. Okay? So, in a form of dead cells. Okay? When this starts to heal, okay, your body, when this starts to heal, so, eventually, kapag healed na talaga siya, 'di ba? Yung mga parang may mga scrape na siya ng mga dead cells. Okay? Yung mga black scrapes na dead cells. Okay po? And since dead cells has to be replaced, okay? So it has to be replaced with another cells. Okay? One cell must reproduce to replace the cell that died. Okay? So, next, I would like to address my response to Charmaine. According to Charmaine, the body repairs broken blood vessels. So, Charmaine, in this case, what do you call this? Particularly specified blood vessels because it's always associated with blood, okay, with hemorrhage. So, yan. So, it repairs itself. Okay, same thing with the first answer of Micaela. Okay, it repairs itself for that to function normally again. Okay po? So next, for JCAM, I said it earlier that here he is pertaining about, what do you call this? He is pertaining about immune system. Okay? Immune system against the possible infection that could arise from your wound. Okay? Kasi whenever you have wound in your body, okay, the thing that you will be vulnerable to different bacteria, different viruses from the environment. Okay? Because na wound, what do you call this? Wound served as, what do you call this? Entry point for infectious bacteria and viruses. Okay? So, anyway, yan. So, he's pertaining about immune system. Okay? So, next for pahabol, according to Maritoni. Okay? So, when skin is scraped, okay, adjacent cells start multiplying and keep going until cut is healed over nicely. Okay, very good. Okay, so that's one thing good about our body is that whenever our skin is scraped, for example, nagasgasan, okay, the dead cells will eventually be replaced by the reproduction of new cells of the adjacent cells. Okay, so it's good. It's good. What do you call this? It's really nice. Our body can cope with this kind of, what do you call this? Stimulants, okay, especially wounds. Okay, so yan. So I've started our discussion with this particular question because our topic for today is something related. Okay, something related to this one. Okay, so yan. So let me proceed with my presentation, if you mind. Okay. So yan. So as I said earlier, okay, when you have acquired a wound, okay, even if you don't acquire a wound, what do you call this? Your skin cells, okay, age. When we speak of age, it will come a time na mamamatay talaga siya. And it will become a dead cell. Okay? And mawawala na siya sa skin mo. Parang ano siya, parang what do you call this? Libag. Okay? So, yung libag, it's a mixture of dust, dirt, bacteria, also your dead skin cells. Okay po? So, yan. So, I've shown you this picture to remind you that even though without wound, your cells in our body or our cells in our body die eventually. Okay po? So, yan. Namamatay talaga yung cells natin naturally. Okay? Meron lang siyang span of time. Okay? So, to live and reproduce. Okay? So, kapag umabot na yung time na hindi na siya reproductive, so magiging dead cells na siya. Okay? So, what do you call this one? So, I am pertaining only for a skin. Okay? But there are many parts in our body, not only skin, that contain cell. Okay? Kasi all parts of our body contain cell. Okay? That also works in a similar way like this one. Okay? Nagkakaroon siya ng cell death. Okay? Cell death and cell replacement. Okay? Whenever nagkaroon ng cell death, there will be a cell replacement. Okay? So let me proceed. Also, okay, not only for cell death and cell replacement. So it's always associated with growth. Okay? This one is a leaf from katakataka plant. Okay? So you know if you know this one at yung when we were kids, so iniipit namin to sa libro, then eventually magkakaroon siya ng mga outgrowth. Okay, so this one is associated with growth, and kapag nagkaroon na siya ng mga roots like this one, okay, out of the leaves, pwede namin siyang itanim to produce in another kind of katakataka plant. Okay po, so yan, cells also possess growth. Okay, growth as a form of what? Reproduction din. Okay? So, let's proceed. Yan. So, that's katakataka plant. And yan, may growth. Okay? So, that's how our body reacts. So, before I proceed formally with our discussion, I just want you to watch this video. Okay? So, this one in particular will compare, what do you call this? Will compare sizes. Okay, the size. So look at this one. It's a 1 meter wide scale, and mamaya we'll go deep into a cellular level. Okay, because we are going to look at the cell level. Okay, for us to know that cell that compose our body is a very small particle compared to the size of our body. Okay, so let me play this one to you. Okay, so yan, I just let you watch this one for you to know, class, at which level are we going to have our discussion today. Okay, so and today we are going to talk at the level of cellular level. Okay, so pero hindi ko pa talaga sinasabi sa inyo yung discussion natin. Okay, so yan, so before we proceed with a formal discussion, so I just want you to watch another video. Okay? So, I hope from this video class, you will now have to compose which topic are we going to discuss today. Okay po? I want you to listen to this one. Okay, so that we can you have to compose kung ano ba talaga yung magiging pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Okay? Okay? When we speak of conception, fertilization, okay? After sex. Okay? Cell divides. Okay? From 2 to 4 to 8. Exponential division. I also want you to read the caption. That's a human. Okay, so very good. So, what is the video all about, class? What is the video all about? About? About what? Sino yun?
Nag-grow yung baby.
Okay, so growth of a baby. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna leave this particular video with a question. Okay, so you said already that it represents growth of the baby. You know, you've witnessed from an egg cell or fertilized egg cell. Okay, after fertilization. So to blastula, okay, to embryo, to fetus, to infant, okay? So there is a series of growth, okay? So with that, so I'm going to ask you. Sorry. I'm going to ask you, so how does growth happen? How does growth happen, class? Or should I say, or should I revise this question? What is the important thing that happens whenever we have growth? Ano yung what do you call this? Ano yung pinaka-key, okay, para ma-attain natin yung sinasabing growth? Okay, how do we grow? How does growth happen? Sige nga. Can I have your answers? You can always participate. Anyway, sabi ko nga, there's no incorrect answer to my questions. Only that I'm going to, if meron mang maliit na lapses sa mga sagot nyo, so we can correct that here. Okay, so how does growth happen? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea, class? Ano ba yung pinaka-important role? Or ano yung nakita nyo? Ano yung na-observe nyo from the video? What did you observe from the video? Okay, while there is a transition from egg cell to blastula, to embryo, to fetus, to fully grown infant. Okay, so according to Micaela, so there is an increase in size and changes in the shape of the developing organism. So, yan. So, we focus in the answer of Micaela. So, increase in size and changes in shape of a developing organism. Why is that so? How does that increase in size? Paano ba siya nag-increase ng size? Paano ba siya nagkaroon ng change in the shape of an organism? Paano siya nagkaroon ng increase in size? Paano siya nagkaroon ng change in shape? Sige nga. Can somebody know? So our meeting is gonna end in less than a minute. So after mag-end, so you should come back right away, okay? So that we can continue our discussion. I have to restart again the meeting. So yan, so according to Micaela, so she said that there is an increase in size and change in shape of an organism in the video that I've shown you, okay? So paano kaya, so how does that happen? Okay, so paano ba nagkakaroon ng change, increase in size or change in shape o in an organism? How, class? Paano kaya, class? Can I have your response to my question?
Sir.
Paano po? Sige nga.
Sir, kasi lumalaki na po, tsaka
O, paano siya lumalaki?
nabuo na po sir siya dun sa loob.
O, paano siya lumaki in that particular size? Because of what? Because of what? Paano siya lumaki? Ano yung key point? Do we have to play again the video? So, tingnan nyo kung paano siya lumaki. So, yan. So, I just want you to look for a word kung paano siya nag-increase in size, paano siya nag-develop, paano siya nagkaroon ng growth. Look at that. Okay? So, ano yung prominent activities na nakikita nyo in that video? Class. Hanggang dun lang. Okay, so ano yung nakita nyo? Ano yung activity of the cell na nakita nyo kaya siya nag-grow, kaya siya nag-develop? What did you see from that video? Sige nga. So, I know meron you have in mind. Okay, so tingnan natin yung chat. Because of what? Okay, so according to Micaela, nakasalalay sa pagtaas ng bilang. So, paano ba tumataas ng bilang yung cell? So, it's because of cell division, di ba? From a single cell, it divides into 2, it divides into 3, it divides into 4, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8. So, it divides. Okay po? It divides spontaneously. So, that's why nagkaroon ng growth. So, the important key in having growth class is that there must be a cell division. I hope you understand this thing. Okay po? So, there must be a cell division. Okay? So, growth must undergo a cell division of the cell or cell division. So, that's gonna be our topic for today. So, we are going to talk about cell division in particular, but cell division class is always part of a cell cycle. When we speak of cell cycle, from the production of one cell to reproduction of reproduction of that cell to produce another cell. Okay? So it's always interconnected. Okay? Interconnected yung dalawa, hindi mo yan pwedeng paghiwalayin. Yung cell cycle and cell division. So that's gonna be our focus of discussion for today. Okay? So in that, we're going to have our objectives. So you're gonna explain, okay, how the phases of mitosis, kasi mitosis is always associated with growth. It's a cell division, type of cell division that contribute to the cell reproduction. When we speak of reproduction, creation of another cell from existing cell. Okay po? And determine how mitosis contributes to the maintenance of an organism's normal function. So, paano nga ba siya nagko-contribute? So nagkaroon na kayo ng have in mind kanina how do growth happens, pero yung how do growth happen, pero yung mitosis, it's gonna be in a depth discussion. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to introduce first to you different definitions, different terms, different illustrations before we go with the topic of cell division. So, this one is a typical illustration showing different parts of an animal cell. Okay? So, yan. So, I know know already this one. Okay, you've topicked about this one when you were in grade 7. So, alam nyo na yung different parts na yan. Okay? So, this one is an animal cell. On the contrary, so I'm going to present also a plant cell. So, yun yung magiging focus natin na animal and plant cell. It's a eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, let's get away first with the bacterial cell, with the fungi, with the protists. So, doon na muna yung maging focus natin kasi yung cell division kasi medyo complex siya when it comes to what do you call this? Plant and animal cell. Okay, so this one, this particular picture is showing you a chromosome. So, this one, chromosome class is a condensed form of chromatin. Chromatin is composed of, what do you call this? Composed of a DNA, this one, DNA, and a proteins. Okay, so yan. So, chromosome, chromatin. When we speak of chromatin, that's untangled form of DNA, and the DNA itself, which carries genetic information. Okay, so yan. So, that's the cell. So, here is a chromatin. Okay, when we speak of chromatin, it's a protein plus the DNA, untangled form of chromosome. This one is a chromosome. When we speak of chromosome, it's a condensed, what do you call this? Condensed form of chromatin. So therefore, embedded into this condensed DNA are proteins. Okay? So, yan. So that's the structure of chromosome. Okay pa? So, next, we will be encountering also class homologous. Okay? So, homologous chromosome. Okay? So, This in particular will be on the meiosis level. However, what do you call this? Matatopic naman natin siya sooner. Okay pa? So when we speak of homologous chromosomes, these are chromosomes in our body or in a cell that has the same length, okay? The same composition, okay? However, different alleles. So anyway, just showing you of what homologous chromosome is. Okay, so this one, typically class you call this as karyotype. Okay? Karyotype, so karyotype is nakukuha yung ganito. This one are the chromosomes. Okay? So these are the chromosomes of our cell. So currently, for human cell, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So, a total of 46 kasi kada isang pair merong dalawa. So, 2, 4, 6, and to the 23rd, that's gonna be, what do you call this one? Your sex cells. Or sex cells determine your sex. Either male or female. There's no in between. Okay? So, kapag XY, then you are a male. Kapag XX, you are a female. So, the 23rd chromosome, okay, determines our sex. Okay po? So, this one is a karyotype. Karyotype can be obtained by staining the chromosomes during the metaphase stage of mitosis. Okay po? So, this one is a centrioles class. Centrioles is, I show you this one to give you an idea of what centrioles is because this one plays an important role during cell division. Okay po? So, this one is a centriole. So, ito yung, it's composed of microtubules, yung mga yung mga tubo na yan. So, it's composed of microtubules. Okay pa? So, anyway, I'm going to share a video later on kung paano ba nag-work yung cell cycle or cell division. Okay? So, also, I'm going to show you cell types. Okay? So, meron tayong generally, we have two cell types. One is the somatic cells. The other one is the sex cells. So let's talk first about somatic cells. So when we speak of somatic cells, these are diploid cells, okay, with two sets of chromosomes. Okay, two sets of chromosomes. Yung two sets na yun, remember na yung somatic cells natin sa katawan, except with the sperm and egg. Kasi yun yung sex cells natin. Diba, your skin is a somatic cell, your liver is a somatic cell. Okay, so yan, two sets or diploid. Okay, which means one set comes from your mother, the other set comes from your father. Okay? They function for growth and various metabolic activities besides reproduction. Kasi yung reproduction is for sex cell. Sex cell, dalawa lang yan. So, kung babae, it's an egg cell. Kung lalaki, it's a sperm cell. Okay pa? And these sex cells are for reproduction. Okay, sex cells can also be called as gametes. Okay, so these are haploid cells, the sperm and egg cells only. Okay, whenever this unite, halimbawa nag-unite na yung nag-unite yung sperm and egg, so that's gonna form a diploid. Okay, from haploid, nagiging diploid. Okay po, to create a somatic cell. Okay, so kung makikita nyo naman kanina sa video, yung pinakaunang cell doon, it's a fertilized egg. When we speak of fertilized egg, nag-fuse na yung sperm and egg cell. And that's considered already as somatic cell. And mag-undergo siya ng cell division for the purpose of growth. Okay? So, yan. So, there are two cell types in our body. Okay? Cell division is the process by which multicellular organisms produce more cells. Diba? Kung makikita nyo naman from the video before, from a single cell, it doubles until it becomes a mature baby. Okay po? So, more cells, this process is related to the ability of living organisms to reproduce. Without cell division, we cannot reproduce. Okay? So, yan. So, that's important. Okay? So, in a cell cycle, di ba kanina sabi ko cell cycle pag-uusapan natin. So, in a cell cycle, para magkaroon ka ng cell cycle, you will have to have different substages. So, meron ka dapat interphase. Interphase class is the phase at which the cell growth. Okay? Or the cell grows. Okay po? So, nag-grow na yung nagduduplicate kasama dyan. Pero yung mitosis, mitosis class or meiosis kasi magkasama yan sa cell cycle. Pag mitosis, it's the cell division. It's the actual stages under cell division. Meiosis naman, same thing with mitosis, only that it creates sperm and egg cell. Mitosis, it creates somatic cells. Okay? So, under interphase, okay, so we have G1 or growth 1, S phase, and G2 phase. So, tatlo yan. So, pag pinagsama mo yung tatlong yon, that composes the interphase. For mitosis naman, so here, so that section, kasi yun yung focus natin ngayon, PMAT. PMAT means prophase. Subsection niya ng mitosis, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So, medyo unclear pa sa inyo yung concept na to. But, as we proceed with the slide, so magiging clear din sa inyo. Okay? So, this one is showing you the different, what do you call this? The different, the cycle of cell division. Okay? Or the cell cycle. So, let's start here. Okay? Etong portion na to. Okay? Yan. Starting from this up to this stage, you call this class as the interphase. Kasi sabi ko baga kanina, interphase is G1, okay? S and G2 phase. Okay? G1, S, and G2 phase. So, eto na siya. G1, kasama na to. S, and G2 phase. So, this composes the interphase. So, interphase is the longest kasi if you look at this one, hindi lang siya scaled yung pie graph. However, it makes up the 90% of the cell cycle. Okay? So, it makes up the 90% of cell cycles. It is when the cell is active metabolically and prepares for the process of division. Kasi, just before cell division, ito na yung cell division mismo, yung mitotic phase, which composes of PMAT. PMAT. So, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. So, that's what I show you here. PMAT. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Okay po? So, yan. Tandaan nyo interphase is when the cell is active metabolically and prepares for the process of division. Okay? So, let's talk first at the substage of interphase, and that is the G1 or first growth phase. So, under the G1, it's the stage of the cell when the cell starts to grow. Kasi kakatapos niya pala mag-divide. So, kasi it's a cycle. Nag-divide na siya dito. So, syempre mag-grow na siya. It starts to grow. Okay, so the water content, enzymes, and organelles in the cells are doubled in preparation of cell division. So, nadoble na. So, kasi kapag nag-divide yung cell, so, yung doble na yun, paghiwalay yun para maging individual cell. Okay? So, under the first growth phase, majority of growth occurs. Okay pa? So, yan. So, for the synthesis phase, remember class yung DNA the DNA will now replicate. Pag sinabing replicate, madodouble din siya. Okay? Sa first growth phase, ang nadouble lang yung mga organelles. Okay, enzymes and water content. Pero sa synthesis phase, pinapakita lang dito class that DNA is replicated. Okay, from one set of DNA to two sets of DNA. Okay? So this is a prerequisite for cell division so that DNA copies can be distributed to the daughter cells. Okay pa? So yan. So, G2 phase, after the S phase, ito na tayo. Okay? Growth and preparation for mitosis. So, involves continuous growth and preparation. Parang continuous lang yung growth nila and preparation. Proteins important for chromosome and mitotic spindle formation are produced. Okay, so yung kailangan sa pag-cell division na mga proteins, so na-produce na under the G2 phase. Okay? So, meron tayo class tinatawag na G0 phase under the interphase. It's a special phase where the cell is considered to be in a resting state from the division. So, G0 phase, resting phase. The cell is neither preparing to divide or is currently actively dividing. Okay po? So, you call that as G0 phase. Pero, hindi natin yan masyadong pinag-uusapan kasi yun, wala siyang parang in a steady state lang yung G0 phase. Okay? So, in a cell cycle, meron tayo class mga checkpoint or you call these checkpoints as control system. Nagkakaroon tayo ng control system. Halimbawa, in a G1, so meron tayong G1 checkpoint. Okay? So, after S phase, walang checkpoint. Pagdating natin sa G2, merong G2 checkpoint. Bago tayo mag-enter ng mitosis, meron pang M checkpoint or mitosis checkpoint. So, what are these checkpoints? So, for G1 checkpoint, okay, it checks for, parang nagko-correct lang siya kung eto ba, tama yung process niya. Okay, so it checks for what? Proper cell size, adequate nutrients, any DNA damage, cell growth factors. Whenever na magkaroon ng mga irregularities to these factors, so either yung cell hindi mag-proceed sa cell division or magkaroon ng repair or cell repair. Okay? So, yan. So, that's gonna be the G1 checkpoint. Nutrients, cell size, or DNA damage. Okay? For G2 checkpoint, primarily checks for what? Proper cell size, then DNA damage from DNA replication or the S phase. Okay? In a G2 phase, pwede tayong what do you call this? Pwede tayong magkaroon ng apoptosis. Okay? Apoptosis is initiated in the cases of irreplaceable errors. Halimbawa, hindi na maayos yung error na na-check ng mga checkpoints, so nagkakaroon ng apoptosis. Apoptosis is a cell death. Okay po? So yan. So for M phase or M checkpoint, okay, it checks for what? Proper and equal separation of the sister chromatids. Okay? Yung sister chromatids is a chromosome class, condensed chromosome, na during S phase, na-duplicate na siya. Okay? Kaya, since it's duplicated, it's called a sister chromatids. Okay? Proper attachment of spindle. So, that's for M phase. Okay? So, let's talk. Okay? We are done with the interphase, also with the checkpoints. So, let's talk about the mitotic phase. So, mitotic phase, you call also that as mitosis. Okay po? So, mitosis involves cell divisions of the cellular content. Okay? Cell division of the cellular content. Ano yung content? Yung nucleus, yung mga organelles, okay, yung DNA. So, magdi-divide na siya kasi during the interphase, na-double na siya, na-replicate na siya. Okay? So, once replicated, it will now come to divide. Okay? In a mitotic phase. Okay? Mitosis have 5 stages. Okay? So, 5 stages kasi yung kanina baga PMAT yung sinabi ko. PMAT. Okay? Kasi there is another added stage between prophase and metaphase. You call that as pro-metaphase stage. Kaya siya nagiging 5. Anyway, tingnan natin kung ano yung dagdag na features under the 5th stage. Okay? So, it is immediately followed by or simultaneously occurs with cytokinesis. Cytokinesis class, it's the division of the whole content of the cell into 2, from 1 into 2. Okay? So, ang nag-divide na dyan yung cytoplasm. Yung cytoplasm, nahati na siya into 2. Okay? So this particular picture is showing you that mitosis, which is a series of cell division in an elongating onion root tips. Okay, so nag-elongate siya because of the mitosis. Okay, so let's start first with the first phase, and that is prophase, which involves events like nuclear disintegration, meaning the nuclear envelope disintegrates. Okay, parang nalulusaw yung nuclear envelope. Also, a mitotic spindle extends from the centrosome. Okay, ito yung centrosome mo, yung dalawang dot na yan. So it extends the spindle's fibers, yung mga line na yan. Okay, chromatin condenses to become visible chromosomes. From chromatin, it condenses to become visible chromosomes, yung parang mga line na. Okay pa? So, prophase is marked by beginning of chromatin condensation. Okay, so also the nucleolus and nuclear envelope disappears. So, yun yung features ng prophase. What about prometaphase? So, prometaphase is between prophase and metaphase, involves the following events. Number 1, disappearance of the nuclear membrane. Okay? So, totally nawala na talaga yung nuclear membrane in prometaphase. Microtubules extend from centrosomes. Okay, so yan. So, it extends from centrosomes. Sumaba na yung mga spindle fibers and it comes to the opposite ends of the cell. So, more condensed chromosomes. Okay, more condensed na yung chromosomes. Okay? So, for metaphase, one thing that you can observe here is that the chromosomes, the duplicated chromosomes, line at the center. Kaya nga siya middle. Okay? So, centrosomes completely located on the opposite poles. Ito na, yung yellow. One is on top or north, the other is in below or south. Okay? So, chromosomes centrally aligned at the metaphase plate. You call this class as metaphase plate. Okay pa? So, yan. So, for anaphase involves the following events. So, magse-separate na, di ba? Na-duplicate na yung chromosome. So, magbe-break siya into 2. Okay? Ang magbe-break dyan class yung centromere na nagko-connect ng sister chromatids. So, magbe-break siya, tapos, hihilahin siya ng mga spindle fibers yung mga individual chromosome. One pair of sister chromatid will come to the other side of the centrosome. The other one will also come to the other side. Okay, so single chromosomes move toward the opposite poles. Okay? So for telophase, involve the following events. Microtubules detach from the kinetochore and chromosomes start to uncoil. Okay, so mag-uncoil na siya. From chromosome, magdi-decondense na siya into chromatin. Okay, so matatanggal na yung microtubules, yung mga line na yon. Okay, anyway, makikita niyo yan mamaya sa video. So in animal cell, a cleavage furrow. Pag sinabing cleavage furrow, pero may cleavage, may hati. Okay? Sa cell membrane. This furrow starts as the groove along the cell membrane surface and then pinches up to the center of the cell. Okay, parang pinipisil siya into 2. Yung parang lobo, okay? Nagkaroon ng cleavage furrow. Okay, something like this. You call that class particular stage as cytokinesis. Okay? So, cleavage furrow formation marks the animal cell cytokinesis. In plant cell, hindi siya cytokinesis class. So, it's a formation of cell plate. So, kung kanina sa animal cell, it start from the outside to the center of the cell. Ito naman, it starts from the center of the cell to the outside of the cell. So, ganyan po. Cell plate. Formation of plate starts in the middle of the cell plate and elongates outwardly. So, magkabaliktad sila ng animal cell. Okay? So, yan. So, I'm going to show you a video of mitosis. So, wait first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 20, Okay, so this will give you a summary of what we have discussed today. So let me play this video. I want you to listen and get information from this video.
Have you ever looked down at your leg or your arm to find some cut and you have no idea where it came from or how you got it? So you put a bandage on it and a few days later it's gone. It's all healed and you don't even think anything of it, of this amazing process that causes this to happen. Or let's say you're looking at your nails and you notice they're a lot longer since the last time you cut them. Or let's say you're looking in the mirror and you notice that you are a lot bigger than you were when you were 5 years old. What do all of these things have in common? Well, one major thing they have in common is mitosis. Mitosis is a type of cell division done by most of your body cells, and it's really important for cells to divide. If they didn't divide, you wouldn't grow. I mean, how do you grow if you can't make more cells, right? So one reason why you're bigger than you were when you were 5 is mitosis. Mitosis also is great for repair of damage. If you have some kind of accident, like when we were talking about that cut on your arm or leg, well, you want to make sure it gets repaired well. So you have to make more cells to do that. Mitosis is great for that. Now, it's really important to understand what it is not. Mitosis is not a process that makes sperm or egg cells, because that's something different called meiosis, which sounds like mitosis, unfortunately, but it's a different process. Mitosis is done to produce body cells. Mitosis makes identical cells. That is the goal, identical cells. So if you're trying to make more skin cells to replace worn out or damaged skin cells, you don't want to start suddenly making stomach cells there. That would be ridiculous. You want to make sure you have identical cells replacing what was lost. So mitosis makes identical cells. It's a really important thing. Now, it's also important to understand that your cells are not dividing all the time. If all they did was divide, it would just be rapid, crazy growth. In fact, this is kind of what cancer is. Cancer is uncontrolled cell growth. We have a clip on the cell cycle and what the cell is usually doing most of its daily life, which is actually a phase called interphase, where it's growing and replicating its DNA and carrying out its daily cell functions. That's where cells spend most of their time in respect to the whole cell cycle. Mitosis is a very short amount of time in respect to the whole cell cycle. But mitosis is a critical process because this is where it is going to divide and make more cells. Before we get into the steps of division, it's really important to understand that your cells have something inside them, an organelle called the nucleus. And the nucleus holds your DNA. DNA is really important because it's your genetic information. And if you're going to make more cells, you need to have the same DNA in those new cells as you did in your original cells. You want it to be identical, no mistakes, very important. The problem is you've got a lot of DNA, and we've got to get that DNA into the new cells using mitosis. So there has to be a better way to organize that DNA. Well, what actually happens is that DNA can be organized into these condensed units called chromosomes. Chromosomes are made of DNA and protein. You've probably heard before that humans have 46 chromosomes. That means 46 chromosomes are found in most human body cell nuclei. What are nuclei? Well, it's the plural of nucleus. You don't say nucleuses, you say nuclei. Well, in the nuclei, there are 46 chromosomes. Organizing DNA into condensed chromosomes makes it a lot easier to move over when you're making new cells. So if you have 46 chromosomes in a human body cell, you have to duplicate those chromosomes in interphase before mitosis starts. That basically means you're duplicating your DNA, since chromosomes are made of DNA and protein. You have to do this before mitosis starts because if you're going to make an identical cell that has 46 chromosomes just like the original, well, it makes sense you have to duplicate the genetic material before splitting. So if you look at our cell cycle video clip, we talk about interphase. That's a stage where most of the time cells are spending their time. They're actually duplicating their DNA during that time. So, ready for the tricky part? Well, because we tend to count chromosomes by the number of centromeres present, when the 46 chromosomes duplicate, we still say there are 46 chromosomes, as the sister chromatids are still attached, and we're counting by centromeres. So 46 chromosomes here, they replicate in interphase, and you still have 46 chromosomes in this picture, but you went from 46 to 92 chromatids. We have a video explaining that in more depth and how that factors in for mitosis. Okay, so now we can get right into mitosis. I like to tell students to remember PMAT. It's a little acronym that helps you remember. The P is for prophase, the M is for metaphase, the A is for anaphase, and the T is for telophase. So remember PMAT, the stages in order. The very first step is prophase. Prophase because it's the beginning step, the nucleus is still there, and it's going to go away later on, but this is a stage where it's actually still there. The chromosomes are visible. In fact, we say they're condensing, which means they are thickening and visible. The next stage is metaphase. M for metaphase, but I also like to remember M for middle because in this stage, the chromosomes line up in the middle of the cell. The nucleus has been disassembled, it's no longer there, so we've got the chromosomes in the middle waiting there. Next, the A is for anaphase. In anaphase, I like to think as the A for away. The chromosomes move away. They are moving to opposite sides of the cell, so they are moving towards the poles of the cell. Now, one thing to point out, these chromosomes, they're not moving by themselves. They actually have something called spindles. These spindles are fibers that help move the chromosomes to the ends. Kind of helps them move along. The last stage of mitosis, think T for telophase. In telophase, the chromosomes are actually at the complete opposite ends, and new nuclei are forming on each side to make these two new cells. The nuclei are starting to surround the chromosomes on both sides. I like to think of the T for 2 because you can really see in this step that the end goal is going to be 2 cells, and in the human body, they're each going to have 46 chromosomes. And again, remember, they are identical. Now, cytokinesis is responsible for the final separation into 2 cells by splitting the cytoplasm, which completes after the PMAT mitosis stages. So why did all this matter? Without understanding cell division, we wouldn't understand how growth and repair happens, because they both require more cells to be made. Understanding mitosis is also very important for cancer research. Cancer itself is uncontrolled cell growth. So in other words, uncontrolled mitosis. Well, that's it for the Amoeba Sisters, and we remind you to stay curious.